Hey, this is Kirk. And this is Bird. It's the Kirk and Bird Show. And we have a special segment tonight. We're going to cover the VHSL Basketball Semifinals. And we'll make some predictions. We'll tell you a little bit about some of the teams that are still remaining. And we're blessed to have folks from the state of Virginia. So representing 703, Julian Brown, host of the podcast Nova Legends. We also from the 804 from the Richmond area. We have Larry Legend, host of Ballin VA, and then 757 Larry Rubama of the Virginia Pilot and Daily Press. 757 expert. All of these guys have been on our show. They know what they're doing, what they're talking about, because they've seen these teams. We're going to let them be the experts tonight, and then I'll always just throw in my part where I think I know what I'm talking about, but I ain't seen nobody. All right.
All right. So everybody out there, we want to let you know that what we're going to do is we're going to cover the divisions. We're going to start off with Division 6, and then we will transition into 5 and 4. We'll talk about 3, 2, and 1. But what we'll do is we'll segment it, and we'll give you the minute marks. So, you know, if you're part of Division 5, Maury and Menchville and Riverside and Highland Springs, you can check out that segment. So, as always, you can find us on the Kirk and Bird BYRD show on YouTube and at the Kirk and Bird on Twitter. Please follow us on Twitter. Our audio podcast is on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Google. And just so we know, Julian Brown's got a great podcast, Nova Legends, Northern Region basketball players, coaches, and fans. That's going to be on there. You don't need to write it down. And then also Larry Legend. So we have two Larrys. There's going to be Larry Legend and Larry Rubama. Larry Legend from Richmond's got Ballin, Ballin VA. If you look it up on YouTube, he's on there. Great interviews. So having said that, gentlemen, why don't we kick off with Division 6? Boys, it's all Northern Virginia. So as our guest, Julian, let's talk about South Lakes, Hayfield, Battlefield, and Patriot in the semis.
Well, I'll start with, Hayfield's probably the favorite in the tournament. They're undefeated. They're rated 5 in the DC area, which is, behind 4 nationally ranked private schools. They've got a very balanced team in terms of they have decent size. They've got a great point guard, Braylon Wheeler, a 6'5", 3'4" named Greg Jones. He's a tough player. They're a very physical team. They remind me of a team from the old days. They have a little edge to them. Like, to me, basketball's gotten kind of nice. These boys are tough. They play really hard, and they talk a little bit of trash, and they throw some elbows in there like you might have seen teams do back in the 90s. They went down to Larry's way, and they beat John Marshall in a Christmas tournament in a weekend matchup, I guess like a showcase type event. And they went down there to Virginia Beach, and they beat Donald Hand and Lansdowne, and they beat both those teams very handily. Very talented teams. So this is a very tough team, coached by Carlos Poindexter, great dude. They're home, and they're facing South Lakes. South Lakes is from what we call 6D, which is the northern region. Yep. South Lakes is a very balanced team. They don't have a lot of size, but they all have good size. They're all between like 6 and 6'4", besides the point guard Kyle Tang, who's like 5'8". The point guard, he'll run the show. Very good player, great vision, great defender. You won't score a lot, but he can score in the lane. But they shoot the ball really well. Very balanced scoring. Maybe one of the best players comes off the bench named Aiden Billings. He's a 6'4" post, great hands, a great football player as well. So, obviously Hayfield is the favorite, but South Lakes is in a very tough district. They've been in a lot of close games, and they've learned how to execute in very tight situations, whereas Hayfield's had things their own way. It's definitely a great matchup. That's the one I'm going to tomorrow.
Yep.
You want me to stop there, or do you want me to go ahead and go to the other one?
We'll transition because Rusty knows a lot about Patriot and Battlefield. So what I was going to say, Julian, is You know, South Lakes and Hayfield over the years have classically played close games. They're playing in a big gym. South Lakes is going to take a lot of people there. And, you know, I watched your plug you again. I love your podcast. To prep for this, I watched 3 of your videos and made some phone calls. But, you know, South Lakes has to keep the turnovers down. And then I'm picking Hayfield. And not only I'm just picking them, I would root for South Lakes because I have, you know, I used to watch Mike Desmond play point guard, great point guard at Chantilly. Herbie Lansdowne, I used to watch him play coach. And that was my team, like when I 25, 26. So yeah, so I'm picking Hayfield there. But let's talk about the other game. And that is another undefeated team. And that's Patriot. And they're playing Battlefield, what, Rusty, the 5th time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that game.
So these are 2 Prince William County schools, and they're actually rivals in sports. Newer schools, and just in newer that they're new because since I've been in Prince William County, they were built. Battlefield's probably, I don't know, 15 years old, and Patriots only about
4 or 5.
10. But what I'd say about these schools is they have outstanding athletes and great coaches. Both programs I've refereed in the past, and they're, because of them being well coached, but also being rivals in football and basketball. They both have great programs in football. Battlefield, you know, went to the state semifinals. Patriot was strong all year. This is the type of thing. These kids have played against each other and know each other. Now, yes, Patriot is undefeated, but Battlefield has 6 losses, and 4 of them are to Patriot. Okay, and one of their other loss, the other loss is a 13-point loss to South Lakes, another semifinals, and John Champ, who recently joined their district. And what I would say about their schedule is it's been tougher than I thought. If you had asked me, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and I even talked about this to Jay Golson, who's been on our show, is I thought in Prince William County that the Cardinal District was a little stronger with Woodbridge, Potomac, Freedom. And I even said, Jay, I said, you know, I think Potomac can actually beat Patriot, just having, you know, for they picked up a new player, Jaden, out of Bishop Ireton, but also just thought they had a rougher way to go to get there. And the fact that Potomac and some of those schools had a few more losses is because they were playing some really good teams. And so, but Hilton coming out of that district, Patriot destroyed. Okay, Patriot, I think they are destined to continue on and meet Hayfield in the finals. But and Julian, I watched your show. You're not a big fan of saying it's hard to beat somebody 3 times or beat somebody, you know, 4 times.
Sorry, it is, Julian.
I'd rather beat a team that I'm going to play 10 times.
I know.
You know, 20 times. I mean, I want them to know that I beat you before. And look, you come back, I'm going to beat you. I prefer that than that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rusty.
No. So I know you're not a fan of saying that, but I will say it. It's hard to beat somebody for the 5th time. That's a rival. Okay, so you beat them in the regular season, you beat it in the district tournament, you beat them in the regionals. It's just tough. Doesn't mean they won't continue.
Can I come back on this though? First of all, it's going to be tough whenever you get to a state semifinal.
Absolutely,
it's going to be tough. Yep. If you have a team you've already beaten, you got to be happy. But I just want to tell people, if you have a chance, go to Patriot and see this game. Patriot puts together a wonderful show.
Oh, they do.
Mm-hmm. The crowd is unbelievable. The student section is fun. Their cheerleaders are first class, like college cheerleaders. Larry, they remind you of the woo-woos back at Virginia State. I mean,
oh yeah,
this is a first class operation. If you got a chance to go to a game, go to Patriot tomorrow night.
I absolutely agree. And we'll wrap up 6.
Yeah.
But so my prediction, when you go to the Hayfield South Lakes, I'm going to go Hayfield. On this game, I am going to pick Patriot, but I'll say this. I did see Patriot live. Everything you're saying is absolutely true. I saw them play John Champ, and that was a really close game, okay? But they pulled it out. But so what we've seen is, and this is one of your points, Julian, they've blown a lot of people out, but they have played some close games, and I think that will work to their benefit this, tomorrow night, and if they're able to make it to the finals, where Hayfield has blown out a lot of teams until they got a little challenge from W&L. The last thing I want to say, and I'd like each of you to kind of maybe touch on it, is this. Yes, Patriot is at home, and it's going to sell out. So I don't think I'm going to probably watch these online, because I can then cherry pick the games, that I want to watch. But that, I just want to ask your opinion. What do you think about the fact that they are playing these home games? And I brought this up to the Kickertan coach. They used to play semis at VCU, right behind me. They would play the semis, at states. And then they moved a couple years ago. They started playing at these the sites, like the bigger sites like Robinson and or Lake Braddock.
Super sites.
Hayfield. A lot of people can't get into the game tomorrow.
Here's the thing, Rusty. We could talk about this for a long time. I will just, and I know Julian feels strongly about this also. Everything should be at a neutral site. It is not fair for Menchville to go into Maury. It's not fair for South Lakes to go to Hayfield. It's not fair for Battlefield to go to Patriot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And we can watch we should be able to watch 2 games in one night.
Right.
Absolutely. Remember that?
Right.
You get to watch the girls and the boys. Absolutely.
Yeah, we used to sit in VCU all day. You could pay at 12 o'clock, pay that $10, and you sit there all day long.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
All right.
So we're all on the same page with that.
So let's wrap up 6. Let's wrap
up.
You guys
got
6.
the thoughts on 6?
Yeah, Larry Squared. You guys are gonna be talking a lot. Larry Legend and Larry Rubama. But what do you think, Larry Legend, about 6?
Well, I've seen Hayfield personally against John Marshall, and from top to bottom, I just think they were complete. And so, they got strong guard play. They got, good inside play. They got the guy, I can't think of the tall guy with the glasses. And he runs excellent pick and rolls. Yeah. So like for me, it's like he can get to the basket. Like their guards, like the tall guy, 23. Yeah, those guys can go, man. Those guys get out the defensively. They can shoot. They can pretty much do anything. And so I haven't seen Patriot. So for me, I'm just going to go Hayfield just from that standpoint for me.
Okay. Larry Rubama from the Virginian Pilot.
I haven't seen Patriot in a while or Battlefield, but Hayfield has been there, has been around for a while. They got that experience, so I would definitely go with Hayfield.
Definitely.
All right. My last question is: if from the 4 teams that are remaining, will this be the first state championship? I believe so in basketball for whoever wins it. Because Hayfield has been great for years, but I don't think they ever won it.
Yeah.
South Lakes has never won one.
And I don't think South Lakes was great, over the years of Grant Hill, and then also with Dennis Scott's son. But so this will be a first-time state championship.
I think
so
you're right.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a Prince William versus a Fairfax County school, and no matter what, I love all these programs and what they've done.
But since we're complaining, though, the 5 should be with the 6. There's no reason to have 2 different tournaments. They should be playing all once. And I mean, those Division 5 teams from Hampton Roads are awesome.
That's right.
There's no reason to have 2 different divisions because these schools have 100 more kids per class. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
When you get on the court, it don't matter.
It sure don't.
It doesn't matter.
And I know I've had several coaches talk about how watered down it is by having 6 divisions. I'll leave that one alone. But yeah.
No. Maybe you don't.
Well, real quick, pre-COVID,
or go on into 5.
Well, hold on. Pre-COVID, there were 3 0-10 teams in the playoffs for football. Yeah. Having said that, we're in tie Division 6 off. So Mike Desmond used to watch you play at Chantilly. All 5 of us were picking you to lose. So you can show this to your kids. And then Battlefield, we're all picking Patriot. And I'm going to end with this since I'm emceeing. I'm picking Hayfield to be Patriot at VCU. So
you guys all talk players, man.
I haven't seen any of the guys. I haven't seen any of these teams play. So I'm just going off of what others have told. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition over to Division 5. So all you Division 6 folks, we're going to transition to 5. All right, so this is Kirk and Bird Show. We're just transitioning to Division 5, and we're talking about a couple of great matchups that are Hampton Roads heavy. So, we're going to get Larry Squared involved, and let's start with the big game that's going to be at Maury tomorrow night, and that's a rematch of the regional final. And Menchville is going to be going over there. I talked to Coach Lamont Struthers tonight. Now, Larry Rubama. I'll let you go first because you've seen these guys play more than once. What do you think? What do you think about those? Who do you thought? Who do you like and all that?
Here's what I say. I talked to Lamont as well after that game when he pulled out that win against Bayside. I asked him, I said, man, what you tell the guys? I mean, that was a game they basically trailed the whole time and then pulled it out at the end. But, good teams win at the end. They took care of the business. They took care of the foul shots. They took care of, they had no timeouts left, but he said they knew when they broke the huddle, they knew exactly what to do. So they executed, and that's what happens during this time. But when I saw Maury and Menchville play the last time, real impressed. Menchville has Eton Struthers, Coach Struthers' son, who's really developed. I saw him as a freshman. He was told that he couldn't get to the state tournament without his brother, who graduated 2 years ago, and now he's there. So he's got something to prove. He wants to put something in his brother's face and see what I did. They also got Dallas Kendall, big boy inside, who helps them rebound and blocking shots, but also shoot the three. He's a really good defender as well. And then they got AJ Clark, who doesn't score a whole lot of points, but he is like the engine that keeps it going. He does it on defense, rebounding. He does all the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet. And I think those three guys, that's a great trio. But they'll be going against a strong Maury team. They have Brian Alexander, tough kid, who's the Eastern District Player of the Year. He's averaging about 15 points a game. They also have Cameron Jones-Hood, who's first team all district. He's averaging about the 15 points a game. And then they got about 3 or 4 kids that come off the bench. They got good size with Sean. I forgot Sean's last name. He's going to kill me. But big boy inside. He's about 6'5". He's a baseball player, but he's playing basketball. And then Coach Brandon Plummer's got a bunch of other kids he throws in there. And one thing he told me after the game the other night was, we got several people. You can go ahead and stop Hood. Go ahead and stop Alexander. We're going to have somebody else we're going to throw at you. He's got a couple freshmen that come in and play some big games. But when it comes down to it, when Maury was able to use their speed and their defense, that's what they pride themselves on, is their defense, to beat Menchville the last time. I just think that it's hard to beat a team in their home gym. Maury's gym is very small, it's very loud, it's very pro-Maury. I don't know if Menchville fans will really get in. That's how much the Maury fans will be sneaking in to not let nobody else in. And because it's being played at Maury, I just have a feeling they're going to be able to find a way to pull it out. But if you know Lamont Struthers, great college player, played in the NBA. He's got experience. The one thing I love about Menchville is the fact that they've been battle tested. The Peninsula District this year was ridiculous. Every week, somebody on the other team. It was ridiculous.
They beat Kickertan.
Yes, they beat Kickertan's 20-game winning streak.
They crushed Kickertan.
They crushed Kickertan. They let Campbell do what he needed to do, and nobody else did anything else. And so that's the one thing I like about Menchville, though, because Struthers knows how to game plan. And the thing, I almost wonder if he just lost to Maury on purpose because he didn't want to show everything. And then when he comes to this game, the game that really matters, this is what he's going to do it. So, I'm torn on this one.
And Larry, who took Jack Baker's job? Who's coaching in Maury now?
This is Brandon Plummer, a former player who played at Booker T. Washington High School, played on the state championship there. Young guy who's very energetic, loves the kids. You can see on his passion on the sideline, it rubs off on his players, and he gets into it. I mean, the game was over with at Indian River, and he threw, I don't know if you know the name, Cornell Parker, played at Virginia.
Yeah.
Right?
Dirty work. Number 5.
Yeah. Yep. So he threw his son out there with about 2 minutes to go, and his son hit a 3-pointer. The way he exploded on the sideline, you would have thought was the game-winning shot. But that's how much he loves his players and pours into his players. And the one thing he told me when I was asking about getting to the state was, he says, look, they won the state title in 2019. He says, we all felt we could get there. We had the pieces that could get there. We worked hard to get there. Again, he prides himself on that defense, and he felt if they got there again. He said, I asked him, are you surprised you're here where you are? He says, no, we worked hard. We planned to get here, and now they're here. So the fact that they're playing at Maury, if it was a neutral site, I think I would go with Menchville. But the fact that it's at Maury, it's hard to beat Maury in that gym.
I want to ask you a question, Larry. I went to the Kings Fork Maury game. Now, I want you to see if you can agree with me on this. I hadn't seen neither team previous to that. It was at Kings Fork. Now, the consensus was everybody knows that it was a 30-point win.
Right.
Now, for me, knowing that, I think that Maury lost to, was it Menchville the night before?
The night before, Northview. The night before. They lost to Northview night before.
Now, at that game, it was a double overtime game. They had to travel to Suffolk. And then when they came out, they didn't even come out in the warm-ups till like 8 to 7 minutes. You know, they were just tired. You can see they were just didn't have any legs. So to me, I'm not taking anything away from Kings Fork, but I don't think Kings Fork was 30 points better than Maury.
They didn't see the best Maury team that night. And on top of that, we looked it up. It was number 1 at the Kings Fork was number 1. Maury was number 2 at the time. That wasn't the Maury team. And even they also told me there was several people on Maury's squad that didn't play that game as well. But they turned it around when they got ready for the tournament time. They turned it around and said, "Look, we gotta start playing." And one of the things he said too is he felt that he relied too much on the 3-ball when they played against Kings Fork. And then he said,
"Right, they did."
Go back to what we know how to do: drive to the ball, hit the 3 when it's open, drive to the basket, and that's where they're best at. Is drive to the basket. They got a lot of guys who could finish with those floaters and things I could never do. But that's the one thing that keeps them in the games. And he said they got away from that against Kings Fork. And then when they got away, it just snowballed and it was a blowout. But it should have been that blowout.
So I'll go on the record. I picked Menchville to win the whole thing. So I can't abandon that now.
No, you can't.
I don't like. They should be playing, at a different site, Norfolk State or something like that.
I agree with that.
And it was sold out. They was sold out. That was my thing. They would sell it out. I saw to several. They have it at. That's sorry. I mean,
the game I'm going to, the tickets go on sale online at 9:00, and at 9:00, I'm gonna be buying that ticket. So, but let's one real quick point. We're gonna do a segment on the girls, but Menchville could be a double winner.
Yes, it could.
Menchville boys and girls. So let's transition to the other semifinal, and that's got a Northern Virginia underdog team going up against Highland Springs, a Richmond team, and it's Riverside, which is right here in Leesburg, Lansdowne. I watched them play on Friday night. Now, Larry Legend, I know you know Highland Springs. They've got great athletes in all their sports. Why don't you talk about Highland Springs, and I can give a scouting report on the Riverside Rams.
Okay, Highland Springs, man, they are the hottest team right now. They won their last 8. Their last loss was to Henrico, so that was back on February 5th. So they haven't lost since then. They just been rolling, man. They got 6'2" guard Dorian Davis. You know, he's one of those guys that he's very streaky. If he's on, he's on. When he's off, you know, you just don't know. He's a senior. You got sophomore Denzel Bullock-Coles, and this kid can go. I just don't think he gets the ball enough. But and then they got the point guard from the football team. I mean, the wide receiver from the football team is the point guard. Was it Kanye Vini, number 1? Everybody familiar with him. He's going to University of Richmond. And then at center, they got Christian Martin. He's the quarterback of Highland Springs football team. So they got a lot of size, but scoring-wise, they rely on Davis and Coles mostly. But they're very athletic. I just think they're just peaking at the right time. At the beginning of the year, I didn't really think much of them. You know, they didn't really play team basketball. They was kind of just all over the place. But they just got it together. Coach Tennyson, you know, he coached under George Lancaster for all those years. He just got those boys playing the ball right now. They're just peaking at the right time. And every time I bet against them, they seem to kind of win out. Me personally, I thought Glen Allen should have beat them, but that's just a whole nother story. But man, those guys they just get after it. They get after it. It's not nothing that they do great. They just playing together at the right time, if that makes sense. So to me, they're like a surprise team because I didn't even have them here. LC Bird should have actually been here, if you ask me. But that night that Highland Springs played Bird was just off. I mean, they just couldn't throw a rock in the lake, man. It was more so that they lost than the Highland Springs beat them, if that makes sense as well. We didn't see no basketball that happened. So they just hot right now, man. So a lot of times, man, when you peak it, just like in football, you know how it is going into the playoffs and you peak, man, that hot team just seemed to kind of get it together. So, you know, You know, this is what it is.
So you're picking Highland Springs?
I haven't seen Riverside, man, but you know I'm gonna represent for the 804, so I'm gonna go with Highland Springs. They hot right now, man. They're hot.
Hey, Larry, is the Division 5 teams in Richmond as strong as James River and Manchester?
No, actually, it's no, man. It's really been down this year. Bird has been the best team because they beat Highland Springs early in the year at Highland Springs. So really across the board, all the teams was just down this year. So that's why I said Highland Springs wasn't even supposed to be here.
Right.
So that's why I said for me, they're like the surprise team, but Bird should have been the team that came out of 5 easily by far.
Yep. Well, we'll transition to this. You said you didn't see Riverside. I saw Riverside play, and you know, it's interesting. They played Glen Allen on Friday night, and I think Glen Allen brought up a little bit of we're going to go to a soft Nova School because they were trying to intimidate. I was catching a lot of talk, a lot of elbows, et cetera, and it didn't work. Riverside, the game was not as close as the score, and Riverside is doing extremely well. They've won 5 in a row, 8 out of 9. You know, 4 players stood out to me. Their best player was probably number 24, Jamie. I hope it's Tiamoa, but if it starts with an N, and I figure that's silent. He's a good player. I think he's probably their best player. And then the coach's son, number 5, kind of plays all 5 positions post. He was my favorite player. I liked him. And then number 4 was Jaden Frazier. Looked like about 6'5", 6'6". He didn't make many shots. Something tells me that if he can get hot, maybe they have a chance against Highland Springs. And then they had a guard, Kyle Hogan, number 3. Doesn't look like a college player, but he was very good at breaking a fierce press. But I would say, you know, I haven't seen Highland Springs play. I think Riverside will play them well. You know, Glen Allen tried some intimidation tactics, and you know, this is an 18-11 team, but that record is misleading. They really only had 2 bad losses. They lost to Tuscarora twice. They lost to Stonebridge twice, and they're hot. So I like Highland Springs, and you know, if Coach Kaczynski, they're going to be going down to Richmond tomorrow, and you know, if you want any bulletin board material, I'm picking you guys to lose, and you know, if I'm wrong, but that's all right. So
good luck in the interview next. Good luck in the interview next week.
right.
I called Coach Struthers. I said they're gonna lose, and I called him today. They like that. So, but yeah, that's game. And I'll close out with 5 with this. Highland Springs can win it. I think the Maury Menchville will win it, but Highland Springs could win it. And hey, I mean, we probably got a Jimmy Chitwood on the Riverside Rams, and maybe they'll do it. But so we want to transition over.
I got a question for you guys before we go any further. So 2 things. One, I used to judge teams that I thought would win the state championship by going, oh, they got a 6'9" dude. Oh, they got a 6'8" dude. That doesn't seem to be a factor anymore because these big guys, there aren't any Yuri Barnes or guys that just gonna, you know, sit around and post you up and play tough. You know, Alonzo Mornings, or even Kendrick Warren. So I watch these teams, a bunch of 6'5", 6'6", even the 6'7" dudes. They're slashing, but a lot of these guys are just shooting threes. Let me ask you this: are any of these teams? And I haven't seen them, but is there a dominant big man in the state, especially in 5 and 6, that's left?
Nope.
No.
I know Patriot doesn't. Hayfield didn't look to have it. I haven't seen South Lakes. So let me say this: there doesn't appear there's no dominant big man playing, you know, old school big basketball. But so it's a lot of slashing and shooting threes. But because of that, doesn't that mean if a Riverside gets hot, it's all equal? Because right now, if the team can shoot threes and be consistent with it, that kind of levels the playing field, even with since there's no big man and no slash, the athleticism that may be there for Highland Springs. Any thoughts?
I just think I'm sorry, go ahead, Julian.
I'm sorry, Larry. When we were in school, before the three-pointer, when you went to the state tournament, you could watch a tournament and you would wait for a team to impose its will. A team would dominate inside, they would impose its will, and they would pull away. It was the teams like Martinsville and the AA, the teams from the Richmond, like Jefferson Huguenot with Marshall Walker teams, the teams like Booker T. Washington. They would beat you up. They would impose their will. When the three-pointer came in to be, it did become more of a guard game and more of a, who's the hot shooting team that night. So the game has changed. I mean, you want to have a big man, but with the three-pointer and it's the guard play, obviously, that often puts you over the top now. I'm sorry, Larry. Yeah.
I agree with you, and that's what I was going to say about Highland Springs. Their players that they rely on the most are football players. Yep. They got their offensive lineman Corey Mosley, who's their biggest player coming off the bench. That's the biggest guy. And Christian Martin, he's the quarterback and he's the center. Mm-hmm. So you got the wide receiver playing point. You got the only two basketball players that has their guards, but the best player is the sophomore, and they really don't give him the ball. He's just very efficient guy once he shoots the ball. Yep. So again, there's just a hot team. They're playing with house money. Once they beat Bird, it was just like, okay, I don't even really, to be honest with you, not trying to put them down. I don't just think that they're just out there playing. Right. And they just, and it's just, they're feeding off the crowd. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I look at Highland Springs, like you said, you look and say, what guy, give me a guy that I can't. Mm-hmm. They just playing good basketball right now.
Yep. We'll close with this.
Yeah, I was going to add one thing. With Dallas Kendall, when you see him, you're like, oh my God, he's a big boy. He's 6'10", but he's not the 6'10" player like you guys have said, that enforcer inside. But this guy will shoot three-pointers. He'll shoot three-pointers. Now, inside on defense, that's where he shows his height. But otherwise, they're slashing to the basket, shooting the three. And so it's not that big man when you're feeding and feeding and feeding. So it's definitely changed. It's definitely changed.
Yeah. Okay. The pick and roll with the big man, and a nice low post, pop it in and out. These kids just run up and down the floor. But no, I think that Highland Springs athleticism will take over. Riverside's not a small team, but they're not a big team. I do like them. I am rooting for them, but I think Highland Springs will move on. So everybody, out there in Division 5 world, please follow the Kirk and Bird Show on YouTube, and also follow us on Twitter at Kirk and Bird. Larry Legend, Larry Merritt has Ballin VA on YouTube, and Julian Brown has the Nova Legends basketball page, where he has lots of videos, great videos, and you can check him out. Nova Legends Northern Region basketball players, coaches, and fans, and just search for Julian.
Do we have a prediction from each player for the final, for the region and the final for 5, in case we can't get back together?
I already made mine. Go ahead, Larry Rubama.
I'm gonna go. I believe whoever wins, I'm gonna go with Maury's playing at home.
Pick Maury.
I'm picking Maury. I think Maury's gonna win the whole thing. If Menchville wins, I believe they're gonna win the whole thing. But playing inside Maury's high school, it's an advantage, and it shouldn't be like that to this point. We're talking about the state semifinals. State semifinals, you playing at home. That's not. But
I've been in that gym. All right, so Rusty, who you picking?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going PD. I picked against Lamont Struthers. I picked against Menchville once before. I won't do it again. And I used to live in, my sister graduated from Menchville. So those are like valid statistical reasons why Menchville will win. Now I'm pulling for the PD.
Julian.
Well, when in doubt, always go with the Eastern region. So I'm gonna go with Larry. All due respect to Larry Merritt, I'm gonna go with Larry Heath on this one. I'm gonna go with Maury as well.
All right.
Well, for me, I'm a realist, and there's no homer picks here. I'm going with the 7-5-7 team because I believe in pure basketball players win championships, and Highland Springs just doesn't have enough pure basketball talent for me to win. If they get there, it'll be a story. But 7-5 for me. Whoever comes out of 7-5-7 for me, I'm not stupid.
All right. So, All right, Kirk and Bird Show. We're here to talk about Division IV, which, by the way, gentlemen, might have the best team, might have the two best teams playing in the semifinal. Let's start off with the showcase, which is one of the best games, and that's Kings Fork and Varina. And it's terrible these teams aren't on opposite side of the bracket. So,
thank you, VHSL.
Yeah.
So, Larry, we know that you've seen both Larrys, Larry Squared. You've both seen Kings Fork play, but talk to us about Kings Fork. Kings Fork is another one that has an opportunity for the boys and the girls to win the whole thing.
Well, I tell you, I love Kings Fork. They were my number one pick in the beginning of the season, our preseason pick. They went wire to wire as a top team. They didn't lose any games. 24-0. They get it done. And the thing about it is, like Maury and like Menchville as well, they feed off of the coach. And you could see it when they played. It didn't matter who they went against. Coach Rick Height, who is known all around the state. He's a Philly guy who he always challenging his kids. He's got those kids playing well. And the one thing they want to do, they were so upset that they had to share a title 2 years ago when COVID shut everything down. And they were, hey, we won a title. They weren't set on that. So they came this year focused on, we want this one by ourselves. We want an outright title. And it showed in the way they played. I mean, I saw them play against Jamestown. I saw them play against Maury. I saw them play against basically everybody they played. And the thing about them is they're physical. If you can't bring it physically, they're gonna wear you out. They beat you up. And then when you think you're gonna punch them in the mouth, they're gonna punch you back. And again, if you watch Coach Height on the sideline, how hype he gets, his players feed off of that. One of the top players that he has is his son. His son doesn't score a whole lot of points, but Ryan, I mean, 6'3" junior, he looks like a linebacker out there. He should be playing for the football team. This kid is physical. He can shoot the three. He'll cover the big man. It don't matter. I don't care about size or nothing. They can run with you. They can pound you. They're gonna wear you down, and that's the whole motive. They're just saying, hey, we're gonna beat us. And they've been doing it all year. The one thing I really like about him right now is George Beal. This guy is a man-child. He was averaging 25 points a game throughout the year. He can rebound. He can steal. He brings that aggressiveness. He'll cover the other team's top player, and he's going to beat him up until the guy gives up. I mean, I saw him play against a team, Manor, and Manor had a kid named Michael Smith, Jr., who is just, to me, he's just a phenomenal player. But Beal said, "Let me cover him," and he covered him, and you could tell that he wore him down, and was they able to pull out that game with no problem. And he was averaging 25 points a game during the season. He's averaging 19 now, but that's because they got another great player, Sam Brandon, who's averaging probably about 15 points a game. He's averaging about 22 points a game right now, and Height calls him probably the best. We call it the best secret in the state. They said not many people are giving him much attention, but the kid can play. He can drive to the hole. He can shoot outside. And then he also has Caleb Brown. He also has big man inside Braden Camp, a football player, 6'5". He can throw out their 9 players. And so one player can't get it, he's gonna throw somebody else in there. And he's gonna. They've just been, punishing the people they played. The kid from Jamestown had a great season, but if you got only one player, they're going to shut him down. You got 2 players to shut him down. They're just physical. Then they're going to wear you out. So as you can tell, I'm really hype on this team because they just beat everybody. I think they beat 7 of our ranked teams this year, and none of the games were close. They're dominant, and they set out they want to win a state title, and that's what they're going to do.
Larry RVA, you've seen both. So you've got, we know Varina is a really good team. They actually probably didn't do as well as everybody thought they were going to do. Not that they're not an excellent team, but what are your thoughts? Give us an analysis like Larry did. I know you know Varina, about their size, all that good stuff.
Varina is one of those teams that I've just grown to love over the last 4 or 5 years, man. Coach Boone, which is Coach Randolph, head coach, the coach down there, Boo Williams as well, and Coach A.T. Taylor from Virginia Union. Those guys, they know how to coach. They build from within. Those guys believe in family, and those guys play for each other. And I'm going to tell you, man, we always kind of looked at them as the little brother of Highland Springs when it came to everything, but those guys built their program from scratch. And I'm going to tell you something. I saw those guys, this team as sophomores, Fats Billups, he's their best player, he's going to VCU. One thing about this team that I love, Billups is their best player on paper. He's the best skill player. They don't need him to beat you. They can beat you in so many different ways.
Yeah.
The main way they get, like, they scored 106 on Jamestown. I know that's not saying much with Xavier Brown and everything like that, but they get after it, man. Those guys get you to, they play a full court press, and they will turn you over, man. And in that gym that Verona has, it's a average size gym, but that gym will get electric, man. And I'm gonna tell you, Kennard Weiss Jr., he's like their point guard sophomore. Miles Derrickott, he was the quarterback of the state championship football team. Ant Fisher was the wide receiver that killed Kings Fork in football. And then Zaire Basketball is their big guy. But number one, which is Christian Carden, how can I describe him? You remember the guy from the Cleveland Cavaliers with the hair, with the he played with LeBron. What's his name? I got it on the tip of my tongue.
All the tattoos?
Huh?
Not the guy.
Yeah, he had the tattoos. He had the hair. He's just an active guy. These guys just get after it, man. These guys got all dog in them. And the thing about it is, if you say, like, say for instance, the guy that you described, Larry, that if he takes out their best player, I'm like, which one you gonna pick? Because even though Feds Billups, they're gonna say, we'll take him out. You take him out, those other guys gonna beat you. So it's like they play around the basket. They go after the offensive rebounds, second chances. They believe it. They play for each other, man. And I thought I would never say this about a Verona team. Now, but I will say this. If this game was at Kings Fork, I will be talking different. Because to me, these teams, to me, seeing both of them evenly matched. But by this game being in Verona, I think there's going to be a totally different game because the court is much bigger at Kings Fork. The court is much smaller, which favors the team who presses the most at Verona. So I never want to bet against the 7-5-7 team, but I'm going with Verona in this one. I love their coaching staff. I love their players. And like I told you, they don't need to beat you with their best player. They don't. So you can sit up there and focus on Fats Billups if you want to. But Derrickott, White, Fisher, Baskerville, take your pick. So that's why I say to me, this is like a heavyweight boxing match. Yeah. You can, no matter who you pick, it's just gonna be whoever wins this game is the state champion.
It's the best. It's the best semifinal game in all the state, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
yes, it's just evenly matched. Their only loss was to Holland Springs.
Go ahead,
so
Rusty.
People, don't go by that.
No, I just wanted one thing. I'm going to say my pick on it. I looked at the schedule, and I'm going to go back to my old theory of it helps to have closer games and maybe have a loss. And Verona's only loss is to Highland Springs,
but that's a rival.
They've advanced, and that's a rival, right? But I would say because of that, that 804 RVA area, that's some basketball right there. Not that Kings Fort, they don't play ball down in the 757, but I think the schedule that Verona had to get through was a little tougher, and I think that loss may help in some way. I see they were some. So my pick is Verona for this game. Quickly, Julian or Kirk, tell us a little bit about LV or LC if you've seen them in the other bracket.
Yeah,
you're a Loudoun County guy.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow night, and I've seen them play. I've seen County play multiple times. I just wanted to make one observation. Both Larry's stories were somewhat similar, by the way. They sound like very, very similar teams. And then for any of people in Loudoun County, not Loudoun County High School, but people at Loudoun County and Loudoun Valley, we know you waited over 9 minutes for us to get to your game. So we are going to talk about that. So this is a great, this is a great matchup. Valley and County. So County's 22-6. They were 13-3 in the conference. However, they played County 4 times, and they've lost twice and they've won twice. And I can tell you, Julian, you put it on your podcast. Valley against what was it? Western Albemarle. literally buzzer, not the second left, buzzer beater. So this is going to be a good game. The one thing I will say about Loudoun County is that they shoot. They are gunners. Now, athletically, they're solid. They're not big. They, Valley is obviously good. I'm going to pick County in this one. I want County, and I'm going to pick County to win it. But this team, good shooters. They're gunners. If they get hot, man, I think they will beat Valley. But I will say this: it would be like Hickory beating South Bend at Butler University. I mean, and by the way, these kids at County, they do kind of remind me of like Hickory and the Jimmy Chitwoods. They're not afraid to shoot, man. They're going to shoot. If they get hot, I mean, it would be like an NC State, Houston, Chaminade, UVA. Go ahead, Russ.
So I'll say this: I would on this one. I haven't seen these teams, but I'll tell you this. And Julian, if you've ever refed at Loudoun Valley, have you ever refereed there? Oh my gosh!
You got the two gyms next to each other.
Yeah. Loudoun Valley. When I've ref games there, especially when they're good, I felt like I was at Duke, Carolina, because the fans were just standing up the whole time. Their face painted, shirts off painted, and every time I blew a whistle, Valley, if it was for them, they were cheering. If every time it was against them, they booed me. But I'd say that atmosphere at Loudoun Valley was unbelievable when they had a really good team, and they won a state championship. So they won in 2015. But I would say, being at Valley, I'm going to give the nod to them because it's
that county. It's that county.
It's that county. I thought it was at Valley. Okay. Oh wow.
County.
Okay. So that changed
down the street
a lot. Oh yeah. Okay. So that changed things a lot. The way the brackets are set up, it looks like they were at Valley. So I'll say this. I don't know who's going to win, but I'm going to pull for County since my niece Jeremiah, and who's been on our show, Jeremiah's daughter plays for Loudoun County.
All right,
but that's the reason why.
But you're not picking. You're not going to pick one. You got to pick somebody.
I'm picking County, and then
you say you're pulling for County.
I'm picking County because they're at home, and I'm picking the upset. Nobody's going to pick a Loudoun school to beat Verina or Kingsport, but except this dude right here.
Wow. And the only reason you're doing that is because it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, you're going to be a hero.
Okay, so you getting the Jay Golson on now, right?
If Loudoun wins the state championship, Loudoun County, this video will go viral. So whatever the time mark is, remember.
And I will tell you why.
Rusty's picking Loudoun County.
Is at the Siegel Center. It's not the same atmosphere like when we used to be able to go and sit there all day. I've gone to state championship games now, and it's other than when they had Mac McClung when it was
Gate City.
Gate City.
Yeah, that was now one seat left in there.
You couldn't even get in there. You couldn't even get in there. But other than that, I go to these state championship games, and it feels like it's about just 100 people in there sometimes. And I don't know, these teams now. If Valley brings their crowd, it's still 8,000 seats. It's not going to be the same atmosphere we're used to. If they get hot and Verina is at home, and they start getting tight, we gotta hope. You never know. So I'm going with my Loudoun Nova team to upset.
Yeah, you're definitely
Kingsport over Ryan.
All right. What Julian? You were dying to say something.
No, I was just gonna say, Loudoun sports are funny. On the football side, the kids can go to any school they want, so they kind of gravitate towards Stone Ridge. Basketball, when they have talent, they tend to go to Paul VI or Highland or Notre Dame.
Yep.
Loudoun is not a hotbed of talent, the public high schools for basketball. I haven't seen it. I've seen highlights based on what the Larry said. I'm gonna go with the winner of that matchup. Right now, I'll go with the home team. I'm gonna go with Verina for that classification.
So I'm picking the Hoosiers.
Okay.
Picking Hoosiers.
Picking Loudoun County. Larry, we know where you are, right?
Yeah. I know they the Bulldogs, so they got the dog in them already. So I see Kingsport winning it all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So real quick, I did want to point out for these local kids that everybody shoots for county. I like that. Their center is the coach's son. That's Nick Alexander. And he's got a very unorthodox shot, man. But if he gets hot, he gets hot. And he's not afraid if he misses a few to keep shooting. And then the number 10 is Brandon Boyers. He can shoot. Don't have a great point guard. They got good team energy. Rusty, it would be monumental because I think the athleticism will just absolutely blow them away. But not bad. 9 minutes to 6. So we want to wish, all the Division IV teams the best of luck and ask everybody out there who's watching this. And by the way, we're going to get a bunch of views of Loudoun County wins the state championship over Varina or Kingsport. So please check us out.
Rusty will be a hero.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the thing. Okay. Rusty's a hero. But check us out on the Kirk and Bird Show, BYRD, on YouTube and at the Kirk and Bird on Twitter. It's Kirk and Bird. We're coming back to talk. We're going to combine divisions 3, 2, and 1 in the state basketball tournament. And guys, I want to point out there's some good teams here. There's some good teams in the 1. So, I want to give Larry, since you do press for a living, the 3 bracket in the boys, the name that jumps out is Petersburg. We know Petersburg's a tough team, but Hopewell's always good. They got 2 Roanoke teams, Northside and Cave Spring. They're playing that game at Cave Spring. That's JJ Reddick's school, Tiki and Ronnie Barber. Why don't you tell us? We'll start out with you, Larry Rubama, about what you think about Division 3, and then we want to go to 2 and 1. So we'll go through these pretty fast.
Well, we didn't have too much representation of Hopewell, and they came down and beat our teams up. But the fact that I like Hopewell. From what I saw them in one game, I like what they got. You can't count on Petersburg, but I'm gonna go with Hopewell.
Petersburg beat Phoebus, right?
Yeah, and they beat the team after that also.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you other guys think?
Larry Legend,
Larry Legend, you know a little bit.
804.
Yeah, I saw both Hopewell and Petersburg. They played each other at the Coaches for Cancer, the game that I saw Hayfield and John Marshall. I like Petersburg size, athleticism. Hopewell has grit, but if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to go with Petersburg.
Okay. I'm going Petersburg too. So I will say this, though. The godfather of high school sports, Matt Hatfield, Virginia Preps, he said Cave Spring has a very good team. He was at Middle Tennessee State University today with Old Dominion Monarchs. But, I like Petersburg. That's going to be a good game in Roanoke. Cave Springs has some really good teams. I actually don't know that much about Northside. So
I did a podcast with Doug Day. He was a 3-point guy at Blacksburg. The day he was going to play Northside in the it was a Christmas tournament. I forgot what they call it. Anyway, Northside's a really good team, coached by the legendary guy Bill Pope. I think he's been there 40 years, maybe 38 years. So definitely a strong team.
Okay. All right. So then, if we go to 2, we've got
John Marshall.
Marshall.
The John Marshall. Let's call it the John Marshall Invitational. Just get it
Right. Nobody can win that, right?
Right. Let's just get it over with. That's just 2. We can move on to 1.
This is why we need to get the Central Region back together, and we need to get the Richmond teams playing together, and then Varina, John Marshall can play with the big boy, the highest classifications. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It is ridiculous.
We've got Radford and James River. Radford has good sports programs.
Their coach has been there. Carmen, he's been there many, many years. I think he's won a couple titles. He's coached.
Right.
He coached the Nichols guys that are coaching at Radford University now. So
right. Okay. I'm laughing because I have to look up where Greensville County is. Oh, that's down in Emporia,
It's
man.
back by Emporia, yeah, damn 95.
Hey, man, that's close to where James and Linwood Briley broke out of prison back in the 80s.
Oh my God.
That's what it is. All right. Hey, Rusty, you remember when FM 99 in Norfolk did that parody? They had Jack and Diane, Little Diddy. They had Little Diddy about James and Linwood. Dude, they found them in a neighborhood barbecue and chicken on the sidewalk, just chilling. Man. Took them about an hour. I feel bad. I feel bad.
Man. Oh my God. When those guys broke up, my mom said, you can't go off the porch. Because you know the jail was right downtown. Down VCU, where VCU was.
VCU, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So my mom said, you can't go off the porch for nothing. During that time when they was out, nobody in the North Side area, because they was from the North Side area, over there in Highland Park, where we at. So we couldn't go outside, stay on the porch, and don't leave the porch. We not the gate, but the porch. So when those guys broke out, I'm like, no.
All right. So we've got all #1 seeds, with the exception of Washington and Lee, which is in a part of the state that has not changed it to Washington and Liberty, which tells me, I know it's not Northern Virginia or Hampton Roads. So we've got Lancaster. If you're in Pennsylvania, by the way, they say Lancaster, by the way. They're Northern Neck.
Yeah, Northern Neck.
Kind of 757. They got some good athletes there.
Always.
Imagine if Chris Brown would have played basketball or football. Okay. So do we have anything here? Twin Springs, Auburn, Washington Lee. I'm picking Lancaster.
Twin Springs is a great Appalachian program. I think they had that kid, Chad, one of the all-time leading scorers in Virginia history, Chad Irving.
Okay.
Stacey Irving. But I know they've always had good teams down in Twin Springs.
I've also heard, this tells you how we're running out of stuff. I heard this from Coach Newsom at Emory Henry of Southwest Virginia, is that Twin Springs, I think, is the school. It's in Nicholsville that has been rebuilt, and it's like a palace down there. So I just want to make sure I got that right. Let me just go back real quick, because I felt like that must have been the girls, which is a good transition. All right. So let's note the time mark. We're going to transition over to the girls. And Larry, why don't you tell the story about how I made everybody mad on your podcast or your board on I got my teams wrong. Princess Anne got shot by Norby. Huge upset. Princess Anne has won 9 state championships in a row. And I said they were going to beat Madison, and Madison's coach was not happy with me because I was wrong. Go ahead. Go ahead, Julian.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was just going to say that Madison is I think 2-time defending champion, but they beat Osborne Park last year. They have a really strong team. And, we've been talking about this all night, but Princess Anne is Division 5. So Madison and Princess Anne have had to avoid each other the last couple of years because they're in different classifications, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So. The Princess Anne Invitational, let's just call it that too.
Well, they're out. So
they're out.
Let's talk about 6. And Julian, you're an encyclopedia on this. I know you know this better than Hatfield.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know Robinson. Robinson is my alma mater. They have a freshman named Georgia Simonson, post player. She's legitimate. Older sister is also a good player. She's a junior. They only had 3 returning starters this year, and I think they've only lost 2 games. They have won like 19 out of the last 20 on a roll. They beat a really good Langley team in the in the regional final. Obviously it's a home game for them. So Madison's coming over because there's a tiebreaker. They're both regional top seeds. Madison has the Arnold twins. One's going to, I think, Brown. The other one's going to Gettysburg. Great guards, and they have 2 big post players. Awesome coach, Coach Stone. Both Coach Dade on the Robinson side is a great coach. Madison is a solid favorite here, but Robinson's on a roll to the home team. So I don't want to sell Osborne and their great coach Chrissy Kelly short, but this is probably the state championship. This the semifinal.
Now, Rusty, you talked the other night about Osborne Park and girls. Won't you?
Yeah, I
Dale, and then
know.
we got Larry Legend. He can talk to us maybe about Thomas Dale.
So I think this is the year of Chrissy squad. I don't think they have as much talent. I do believe that if Osborne Park does get to that championship game, I'm picking Osborne Park to win. I think that a lot of people believe that the Robinson-Madison game is really like the state championship. But one, I'm going to pick Robinson to upset Madison, and that's what's going to help OP. If Madison wins, OP is going to have them problems. But I'm picking Robinson to beat Madison, but I think Kelly's going to find a way to definitely beat Robinson in the finals. And OP is going to get that state championship, and we're going to have another Prince William County state champion.
Okay. Larry Legend, what do you know about Thomas Dale?
Not a daggone thing.
All right.
No,
All right, so we got
seen the pack. I actually picked James River to come out of that district, but they beat James River. I do. They know they won the last 8. Thomas Dale has. They beat the 2 best teams. I thought that was from Richmond, which was Manchester girls and James River, but they beat both of them. So that pretty much tells you what you need to know. I know they're 13-0 in league play. They won their last 8. I haven't got a chance to see them play. So, for me, I'm going to just roll with Thomas Dale just because I'm 804 guy.
all right. Julian, what's Madison's coach's name again? I'm sorry.
Kirsten Stone. Kirsten
Right.
Stone. She's
So,
been
Coach-
there. She I think she played for Madison, won a state championship as a player. I know she won a state championship, and I think she played against Lakeisha Fred. So she's a really good player. She played at Manhattan College, where my sister played as well.
Which is in the Bronx. Which is in the Bronx, by the way.
Yeah. Does a great job. Very positive coach, and so she's awesome.
Well, tell her to make up for my faux pas. I'm picking her to win the state championship and beat your Robinson Rams. And
Only because you want her on your show. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, she wants to ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question, my 703 guys?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
let me ask you this question. I know this is like a long shot, and I know Rusty mentioned about Chrissy Kelly. We know how great of a coach she is when she won that 06 championship at Forest Park.
Forest Park, she got 2.
Yeah, okay, yep, she did. But Monica Wright and the other shooter that they had, a young lady. If Chrissy Kelly happens to pull it off, what would you guys rank her as one of the best coaches in the state of Virginia?
That's a good
I
one.
mean,
Because she coached at South County for a little while too, right?
yeah.
I think she has the respect of her peers, but I think there's certain coaches have probably had more talent, so they probably have more titles than her. But in terms of respect of her peers, I definitely think she has that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, of course, if we're going with current coaches, the Princess, I don't know if you're taking all of state or
no, I'm just speaking. We know Donnell Dozier, we know
Coach Dozier,
Diane
Coach
Richardson.
Dozier.
Yeah, right. But I was
Yeah.
just saying, just because she did it at 2 different schools,
Right. And
most
I
of these
would
coaches
say-
have done that.
And let me just give you a little perspective on it. She's done it at OP, and traditionally they haven't always had a lot of talent in a lot of their sports. But even when she was coached, when she first got there, they were giving Woodbridge a run, and Woodbridge won that state title in 19 with a good friend of mine, Tamika Dudley, who was just named the high school All-America high school coach of the year, and then she has her player was also the player of the year in all of high school basketball.
Sidwell Friends.
And Sidwell Friend, exactly. And Tamika always kept some talent at Woodbridge. Always kept some talent, and Chrissy was playing them tough. So she can just flat out coach, and I think she's definitely one of the top coaches in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say if real quick before we go, I would say she may be up in the top 5, but you still got Oakton's coach, West Springfield. You got a lot of other programs that have been great.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say, if we're gonna go with greatest of all time, I got to go with Phoebus Woodside, Mike Talon, good friend of mine, Coach Talon. He retired. I'm trying to get his record, but I think he won over 600. And I'm sure he knows it. I can text them. But let's move to Division 5 in the girls, which is also we got two Loudoun County teams, Briarwoods and Woodgrove, that will lose to the other team, and that's Menchville, Norview. So Menchville is the heavy favorite, because Norwood beat Princess Anne. So it's got to be a consensus, right? Menchville. I like Menchville obviously over Norview. Norview was a low seed. Larry, you got more. You got more GQ on that.
Yeah, I got to see Menchville when they played Norview in the region championship game, and Menchville beat them. Their defense, they just played really, really good defense. But Norview, to their credit, came back at the end and made it got within 10, I think it was, but played well. They just had some shots that just weren't falling. But, I like Norview's two best players. They got Jada Bryant, whose brother is the star of the Norfolk State MEAC Player of the Year, Joe Bryant at Norfolk State. She's a good player. And then they also have another young lady, Diamond Wiggins. She didn't game I thought she would have. I mean, she averages 17 points a game. If she comes out big and Jada Bryant is able to hit, I think they can make it a close game. But Menchville looked tough. I mean, they had about 4 or 5 different people who just scoring, including Maria Smith, Atiana Williams. I think there's another good Jalen Hullams, I think is her name. They look good. They're deep. And the one thing I love about too is their coach, Adrian Webb. He replaced his father many years ago. And his father never got this far. And he says, his father, of course, the father always wants his son to do better. And here he is, not only just winning the region, now he's going to the state, a game away from getting to the state championship game. So I think, he has those girls pumped up, ready to go. So it should be a good game, but I like Menchville again.
Okay. Real quick point of information. Karen Barefoot, who played at Menchville, played at Christopher Newport, coached at the Apprentice School, coached at ODU, coached at UNC Wilmington. Yesterday was Karen's birthday. So happy birthday to her and her twin sister. Great lady, great energy. Was a great scrappy player for Menchville and Boo Williams. All right, so we all like Menchville. All right, I got a lot of people from Briarwoods that I know. I got not as many people Woodgrove. Woodgrove's right across the road from Loudoun Valley. They took all their good football players. So Briarwoods, Woodgrove winner. You got 5 folks here picking against you. We like Menchville Monarchs. So now we already talked about Kings Fort. So here we go again in Division 4 girls. Again, the quality of this bracket being 2 brackets down. So Larry Rubama, Virginian Pilot, RVA Larry, and VP. Kings Fork Manor. That's a 7-5-7 Southside matchup. What do you think?
I like Kings Fork again. I mean, they beat Manor twice handedly. I don't think that's going to change now. They want to make sure they finish off the job now. I mean, you get this far, you can't. I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but I think I like Kings Fork.
Okay. Anybody else know anything about that? That's okay. All right. There's another.
My team's out.
Well, there's another good. There is another good matchup, and that is Millbrook and Pulaski County. And we're gonna wrap this thing up. And I know Millbrook headed out towards Winchester is not a country school. I mean, they've got some good players coming out of there. Pulaski County has always had good athletes. That's a big, well, it used to be a big school. Gary Clark, Shane Graham, Charles. Anyway, so.
And Michael Porter played for St. John's. Great player from there also.
That's right.
Oh yeah, he signed with Virginia Tech, but we got under sanctions and he went to St. John's with Boo Harvey. He played with Boo Harvey in the backcourt. So we like Kings Fort. So Rusty is our production crew. In my ear, with my earpiece, he's telling me hurry up. So let's go to 3. All right, 3. We got Wolf Blitzer coming on next. All right, we are got. This isn't bad. We got a 7-5-7 team, Lakeland.
Yeah, okay. They're playing Meridian.
Meridian. That's the old Falls Church City.
George Mason.
Yeah. They've got a great program. I tell you, I haven't seen them this year, but I've refed them in a state quarterfinal. They're girls state quarterfinal few years ago, and they've won several state championships. Great program, great tradition. It's funny because they're playing like a lot of the teams now. They're playing, you know, in level 3, but these are kids from basically Fairfax County area. You know, I mean, they're right, just surrounded by Fairfax. They're able to play, you know, AAU youth ball with a lot of great Northern Virginia girls basketball players. Without knowing much, I know Lakeland has done well this year. They barely beat Brentsville out of Prince William County, but I would say Meridian's going to win the whole thing.
Okay, so then the other one, Spotswood, Carroll County. Those are also two very good athletic programs. Spotswood, I think, is in Penn Laird, which is near Madison. Had some good ones. And then Carroll County, I believe, is where Coach Beamer went to Hillsville High School. So I like Meridian.
Who's Coach Beamer?
Who's Coach Beamer?
I know Coach Beamer.
Good one, Julian.
He's a head coach in South Carolina.
Okay, got it.
Hey, who's Ralph Sampson, who, when he wasn't living in Terry Holland's basement, got a room on your spectacular lawn near the rotunda?
That's right, he did.
Right.
This is what we doing now.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have a UVA Tech squabble. This is what we doing now.
Hey,
Exactly.
Julian, you know what y'all did? Because I've seen it when I've been down there. You know they don't have bathrooms. It could be cold, and they got to take their towel because it's so prestigious to be in those rooms. Could you imagine Ralph Sampson from 79 to 83, 7'4", walking down to the shower?
I think he only did it 1 year though. But yes, I couldn't imagine it. Yeah. I mean,
the kid that graduated a few years ago, he was in there. What's the kid?
yeah.
I forget.
It's something you don't
ball
turn.
player?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something you don't turn down, but it's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so Rusty's really talking to me in my ear now. It's a
Class 2. Let's go.
Let's go, Class 2. Gate City Central Wise. All right, good athletic towns, by the way. And we got Luray, which is up here, and Marshall from Richmond. Larry Legend, do you know anything about Marshall from Richmond girls?
Yeah, I saw them early in the year. They played LC Bird girls in a tournament at LC Bird. They play about 9 to 10 deep. They got size. They got athleticism. They're not a great team, but they're a really good team. They're young, well coached. So I would say if a team is going to beat them, it has to be like a really, really good skilled team to beat them. So I'm gonna just go with John Marshall in that district.
All right. I was at Wise. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say we'll move. But I've been to Wise and I've been to Gate City. And Gate City is like very small downtown. Some really good athletes out of that place. And Wise, Central Wise is J.J. Kelly and another school. I want to say it's Powell Valley, I think. And then Appalachia and another Wise County school is the other one. They're brand new schools. Central Wise is spectacular, beautiful view of the mountains. I have to go with Central Wise. My mom is from Wise. So I'm going with Wise, Central Wise. And any more thoughts on those, the ladies?
I was going to say very, very underrated basketball area, the East Tennessee, the Southwest Virginia, Southern West Virginia, of course,
Northeast Tennessee.
All great, very underrated basketball area generally.
Yeah, Northeast Tennessee and football has got some great football players. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up.
I got one. Hold on. Gate City. I've seen them play a number of times over the years when they made it to the Siegel Center. They won. They lost a few, but they won some, and they split in 2020 and they won in 2006. And I've seen them when they would beat Surrey because my cousin, she played at Surrey and now she's at St. Aug.
You got a bigger family than Alex. You got a bigger family than Alex Haley, man.
Yeah. So Gate City, and I met Larry through family. Gate City to win it all. Even though I would like to see Marshall do it, but I think Gate City girls are tough.
All right.
Let's go one.
One, I can tell you, it's Perry McClure versus Honaker. Perry McClure is only has one loss. So, and then the other one is Rappahannock County, which is out here, Little Inlet, Washington, and then Buffalo Gap. It's got to be Southwestern Virginia. So Rappahannock's got the home game, and then Perry McClure has the home game. I think Perry McClure is the Division I powerhouse in girls. 25-1.
Mm.
So we all
Buffalo
like
Gaps.
Perry McClure.
Yeah.
Buffalo Gap's on the way to the Homestead.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was, I love that area.
It's beautiful.
That's
Yeah,
like
it's
Bath
nice.
County and
Yeah, it's
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap up. I think the biggest thing was Rusty picked Loudoun County. All right.
He's thinking
He
about
went
your
to state
He's thinking about your
championship.
podcast, right, Kirk. He's being tactical, whereas you're just picking your favorites.
All right. Well, see, you guys get off here and chill. I got to download this thing, upload the thing, watch it, and do the time marks and all that stuff. So the work is just starting. But this was fun. And I would say, based on the fact that we already made finals predictions, I don't think we need to come back on here and do a finals.
I'd like to have you guys on my show and do a compare the regions historically. We need to get a person from like Lynchburg, Roanoke area. But I like to do a podcast about the different areas of the state which are better historically. You know,
I would love
We
that.
could probably get Andre Kendrick on. Kendrick can talk.
Yeah.
He's out there.
And Andre played basketball and was a very good basketball player, by the way.
he played for Mike Dufresne. I did a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been on our show.
Yeah.
All right. So look, thanks guys. You have been great. So we won't review the state championships, but I think let's go back and let's come back after the state championships are all done. And let's just see how our predictions went and how my Loudoun County.
Yeah, that's what I can't wait for. I can't wait for that one. I can't wait for that
Okay.
one.
All right, y'all.
Are y'all
See?
planning
Woo.
on? Are you guys planning on coming to Richmond?
I'll be there.
Yes,
I'll be there on
yes,
Friday.
Yep.
I'll be
Yep.
there
I'll be
Friday.
there. I'll be there.
You are going to be there, Rusty? Okay.
My day off. Well, hold on. I'm sorry. It's the last. I'm a budget man, senior budget man in the State Department, and that's the day that the continuing resolution ends. So I may have to work, but let's see. Hopefully, we'll get some type of budget, or I can just work on Saturday. We'll see.
Well,
But
you're
my
gonna
plan
have
is
to
to
be,
be
according to your prediction, you're going to have to be there on Thursday to watch one of these Loudoun teams upset Kings Fork of Arina.
Right.
I thought they all played on Friday.
No, the
No,
Kings
Thursday.
Fork, no, Thursday for
Yep,
Division
Thursday.
4.
Thursday.
Friday is 5
Oh,
and
that's
6.
going to be good.
There's
Yeah,
12
Thursday
games.
at 2:30. Thursday at 2:30.
Yeah, there's 12
Okay.
games. I think 4 games. There's 4 games Thursday, 4 games Friday, 4 games Saturday, I believe. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you. You've been great.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Bird.
All right. Thank you.
We are out. Everybody have a good week. Good luck to all the teams.